want to bring on YQ to tell you on the same theme on how we actually have more verifiability with agents as we look at more and more of the agentic universe. So without further ado, let's welcome YQ on stage. Go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, glad to be here. And as Karti mentioned, right, today I will just share a little bit more on the recent research we did at this AltLayer. And yeah, basically, like around 1 or 2 weeks ago, we introduced this new platform called Autonome. As you can see, right, it's we try to make it as this backbone for this verifiable and also interoperable agentic web. We released the white paper. We got a bunch of the feedback, and later I will just show you. It consists of a bunch of these components, which are super crucial, not just for this agent itself, but I believe it's also for the entire sort of blockchain infrastructure in general for the next few years. And we all know either in Web 2 or Web 3, right? Right now, all the agents are quite ubiquitous, and we have all the different LL models like this OpenAI, Anthropic, Claude, DeepSeek, and also this recent Grok 3, right? On top of that, in Web 2, we see a bunch of these amazing agents and also sort of like these bots, right? They can help us to do this travel planning, and some of them can help us to do this payment. And similar to Web3, if we look at the recent development in this crypto AI space, right, we know that it's no longer just like sort of doing this chat bot, similar to the ChatGPT. Now we can also probably order pizza using some crypto AI agents, via Virtual or ELIZA. And why I mention about this, because like we can imagine in the future, apart from like all the users, either Web2 users or like sort of our crypto users, right? We can directly interact with the agents. But beyond that, we all know that with this AGI, right? Probably all the agents, they will just talk to each other and basically to achieve some sort of goals together. So in that case, as you can see, right, it's no longer just a pure human in this picture. We will also see a lot of these agents, probably agent can also create agent. So in that case, right, they need to talk to each other to achieve some goals via different executions of the tasks. And sort of like to make everything autonomous and very secure. And at the same time, we can have very good responsive, like sort of for this agent, right? The first component for this Autonome platform we want to introduce is basically this PEVS. And as you can see, right, we try to bring the heartbeat to these agents. So far as we can see, right, the bunch of platforms in this crypto AI space, they create, they basically help to host these agents in their environment, mostly in the cloud, right? So in that case, as you can see, right, sometimes we don't know whether this agent can really work 24/7 or what's the SLA. But for a lot of the crypto AI agents, we all know that it's quite time sensitive. For example, if we are trying to ask the agent to do some DeFi portfolio management, or sometimes we want to do this swap or a snap, some tokens on Pump.Fund, right? It's super time sensitive. Basically, if the agent is slower than like sort of the other agent and within like 10 milliseconds, right? Basically, instead of sniping this kind of a new token, right, you are hunted by the other agents or by the other bots. So in that case, as you can see, right, for different agent development, no matter it's on Google Cloud or AWS or different ones, right, or some decentralized hosting platform, right, we really need to make sure they can help to make sure like sort of we have this very good like handling for this time sensitive like sort of operations. Here, of course, we lead this liquidation, but for the other like sort of boxes, also some other operation, for example, airdrop claim and token swap. So these are all the very interesting applications and very unique applications in crypto. And in Web2, we all know that if we want to do transfer, the best way like probably via Stripe or sometimes via PayPal, right? Or if we go to bank, right, it's very slow. But on crypto or sort of in blockchains, right, it's super fast. We can do everything, liquidation, all the things on chain and easily. So in that case, as I mentioned, right, we have to have some ways to really monitor all the backends or these kind of agents, like they can work basically via a very timely manner. And beyond all these time-sensitive tasks, right? And sometimes we want to also guarantee this agent can really sort of provide these robust services. And sometimes, like before, these agents are down due to various reasons, right? CPU, RAM, disk. We should also have the alert system for the agent or the owners itself. So that's why, as I mentioned, right, we introduced this POS AVS together with Eigen. We have a different decentralized sort of set of operators to really monitor the status of the hostings of these agents. So basically, like this CPU, RAM, and also disk cost. And at the same time, as I mentioned, right, it's about the liveness, it's about the heartbeat. Make sure all the agents actually, when they are hosted on Autonome, we can make sure like they can provide the service with 99.9% or even higher SLA. Beyond that, also like they can work 24/7. Just to make sure everything is properly running. And beyond that, if something wrong, right? Since the AVS, we can also slash these sort of like stakes belonging to this sort of agent. And as you can see, right, apart from this very decent monitoring and reporting for these agents, we can also have better transparency. Since this operator can generate reports, sometimes you can also check these online traces. Beyond that, of course, better security compared to just single sort of hosting instance for this agent. Now we have a decentralized sort of cluster of nodes to really monitor the status of this agent. And at the same time, I mentioned, right, we typically finish all this heavy lifting, and you don't really need to check the details for how to do, how to write the AVS. At the same time, how this operator is running to support this AVS and basically to check the status of the agents. At the same time, right, as developers, if you want to really chip into like sort of the details of the operators and also these instances, right? Typically, we also provide these API and interfaces you can just query. On top of that, heartbeat and also this health check of these agents, right? We also want to make sure we have this verifiability of these agents. And as I mentioned, right, now we have plenty of these agents, and one of these like sort of amazing agents we have in crypto is AIXBT, right? But we all know that with AIXBT, it has a very funny way and also intelligent way to reply to all the sort of commenters or some user, right? And then we got a lot of these concern and thoughts that whether the AIXBT is really an agent or probably we have a bunch of students behind the scenes to reply like sort of these users on Twitter, right? And so in that case, it's very important to show that, okay, when we call it an agent, is it a real agent? What's the LLM model is using? Like sort of what's the data source for this agent? At the same time, like if it's a hosting on platform, right? The backend, is it backend running? And at the same time, the reply on Twitter, is it really from the agent or is it like from some other channels, like some humans just tap and reply some funny content to the users? So these are all the things we want to make sure like, okay, there's some verifiability. But in general, as we can see, right, if we look at this supply chain of this crypto AI, typically it's not just about the agent hosting. The front end, back end is also about like sort of this data source. So where we get the data, and after that, where we do the training. After training, like how we do the inference, and after inference, like when we call these models, right? How we can really verify this back end of this agent. Of course, when we talk about this verifiability, we want to make sure we have this verifiability for each stage of this crypto AI, right? For example, we need to use a ZK proof for the data source, make sure like, okay, there's nothing like sort of tampered by some third party or tainted by the third party like sort of information. And beyond that, also for training, right? We all want this decentralized training system. We already see a bunch of these projects in the space doing the decentralized training, but we all know that it's not that straightforward. Like it takes like tons of $1 million to have the GPUs and in the data center to do the training. Even we have the centralized way, it takes a month of time. And of course, after DeepSeek, probably we reduce the cost from tons of million to $5 million. But still, even in a centralized way, it takes time. Of course, for inference, it's much easier, right? We already see a bunch of these projects. Some of our partners like Hyperbolic doing this inference in like sort of the decentralized manner. But here, when we talk about agents in the current state, typically we say it's about the hosting of the agent, and typically we rely on some third-party APIs, either from the OpenAI, Grok, or Llama, and we assume this data source for the inference is correct. And then back to the point, right? As I mentioned, so far, the best thing we can do about the verifiability for the agents is mainly about the verifiability of this hosting for the agent backend. And what we are using for this very crucial component is TE+ZK. You can treat it something like, okay, we host the sort of this software for the backend of the agent in some TE environment. For example, this Intel, TDX, SGX, AMD SEV, and also there are some other open source ones for the RISC V. But in general, as you can see, right, you can just treat it as a black box, but the black box can guarantee that all the logic sort of executed in that black box is untampered by some third parties, even the host machine. So in that case, of course, we need some extra proof to make sure, like, okay, all the executions are basically guaranteed without any tampering, right? And beyond that, the proof need to be verified on chain. We also work closely with some projects like this Automata to do this proof verification on chain. But in general, you can see, right, the pulse can provide this heartbeat and also health check for this agent. On top of that, we also have this second component with this trust environment and also ZK proof to make sure this verifiability of these agents. And the third thing, which I feel like is very new, and it's a little bit ahead of time in crypto space. We call this a cross-agent routing system. Like in short, it's called CAR. Because as I mentioned at the beginning, right? So right now we won't see the agents either in Web2 or crypto. Typically, it's sort of the user give the instructions, like us give the instruction to the agent, and the agent will basically figure out the ways to fulfill the instructions we give, right? But however, as I mentioned, right, in the future, if we have the AGI, so agent probably can invoke the other agents to do and exercise some of these execution themselves. If you're using some deep research like sort of features from either Google Gemini or these like sort of these OpenAI O3 or like DeepSeek, right, you can see that it's not that simple for the current agent right now. It has multiple steps. You can first search on the web regarding what kind of instructions or question you have, right? After that, you can summarize this kind of materials searched from this web. After that, it can do some deep analysis on top of this content. But in the future, right, it can be much more complicated than that. Right now, it's still relatively straightforward, like one agent doing everything. But we know, right, in crypto, probably we don't really just have one agent. There, one agent can help you to order pizza. The other agents can help you to do this payment. And of course, some agent can help you to do this DeFi portfolio management, and some other ones doing this sniping on this pump.fun or on some like sort of this Uniswap, right? So in that case, like, if in the future, right, agents can behave like these normal servers or P2P machines in the current stage, and basically they need to find ways to discover each other and find sort of the metadata. So, okay, agent A is doing what, and the agent B is in charge of what. So they can communicate with each other and basically perform some very complex like sort of operations and tasks. And beyond that, right, there are also some other features, components we also need to make sure like they can fulfill these tasks at the same time they can get some payment. So that's why we have some very key modules for this cross-agent routing protocol, like registration, adapters, because like all different models, right? They have different configurations. And of course, queuing, payment, at the same time, also different communication channels management. But the good thing is like we already implement most of the stuff. If you are the agent hosted on the Autonome, by default, you already have all these features. Of course, for some third party or the external agent, right? If you want to communicate with the agents on Autonome, you can just follow some interfaces and call the APIs. These are some code snippets basically in the system, and it's already something we make it live, and it's like as I mentioned, right? Either you can just directly launch the agents on this platform, or you can just call these APIs, or you just follow the SDK and write some code, and then you can just interact with all the agents either on Autonome or the other platforms via this system. And so far, as I mentioned, right, there are three very important components. We have all these details in the white paper. If you have time, you can just check out our website and figure out these the white paper and all the details. The cool part that like sort of we also have some mathematic formulas to prove that for this cross-agent routing protocol, all the things is under this a confidential environment. Oh, another cool thing is about this confidentiality. So all the data and the message passed via this cross-agent routing protocol, right? It's a confidential, it's private. So it's a super useful for especially DeFi application. For example, as back to the example I use, right? If you are doing some sniping on Pump.Fun or some like sort of Ethereum EVM-based chains, right? You don't want the information to be leaked to the other agents or users. So in that case, if you call the other agent, right, the channel should be confidential. Of course, the user and agent, our communication channel typical via the TLS, right? But for the communication channel across different agents, it should also be very confidential. And beyond that, like all these three components already implemented for this Autonome, and we already done all the heavy lifting. So all the products or features provided by AltLayer, the good thing is like, okay, if you want to look at the details, we have white paper, we have the math proofs, but at the same time, we also finish all the heavy lifting. So the stuff we present to all these developers and users is just a no-code platform and dashboard. So you can just visit our website, and as you can see, right, you can just choose a bunch of parameters and options, and then you can launch an agent on Autonome, which sort of like enjoy all the features I just mentioned. And it's a pure no code. And if you want, you can just launch an agent with existing supported frameworks we have, like for example, Coinbase, Agentic, and also ETHGlobal. And on top of that, together with ETHGlobal and Cardia and other teams, previously we did the hackathon. I believe over like sort of 100 developers already help to sort of upload their frameworks to this platform. If you log into Autonome, I think right now, apart from this standard agent frameworks as I show you, you can also go to the page and upload your own framework. You can see this upload new framework, right? Either you can fork some of the existing ones, or you can just create your brand new one and just upload the framework. So later we can basically present your framework to the user developers, and they can launch your agents. And in the future, probably some other features you can enjoy. As I mentioned, right, it's still like sort of early for this crypto AI space. We hope in the future, once we have the AGI and we can have some standard protocols to help all the agents to communicate each other. And at the same time, as you know, right, for Autonome, we try to present all the three main features. the pulse EVS for health check, heartbeat, and there's a verifiability via the TEE+ZK proof, and also this cross agent routing protocol, CAR protocol, to make sure all the message passed across different agents are under like sort of confidential environment. And with this platform, right, we also have this no-code deployment platform to make sure everyone can just easily launch an agent when you want. Of course, we have the event on Friday, and just to show more these demos from our partners. There are also some after party and happy hour. But the thing I want to show you is really about this one. Just go to the website dev.autonome.fun. This one is already live since last year. You can just visit the website. You can just click and then launch the agent yourself. And I recommend if you want to try to launch some ERC20 or interact with Uniswap, you can try this agent key from this Coinbase team. We're working closely with them with all their new features. And then you can easily just tap, okay, let's launch a token, ERC20 token, like ETHGlobal. And within like just a few seconds, they can finish it. And then if you want to try this Twitter bot, right? Like similar to AI XBT, and you can just launch the ELIZA one, link to your sort of Twitter account, and just input some data source. You can automatically sort of make the tweets, and at the same time, you can also fine tune this kind of agent to make sure everything is running following your instructions. Just have a try. It's a very straightforward. All the things I printed at the beginning is already embedded into the system, so you don't need to implement from scratch. But of course, like most of you are very like sort of these pro players in the development, right? You can also check out some of the source code, and probably you can build your own components on top of this Autonome. Of course, if you encounter any questions, just feel free to join this TG group. And for some existing like sort of frameworks on the platform, the authors typically in the group. And if you want to extend the agent you are running, just feel free to tag us, and our team will help you to extend like sort of the duration for your agents. Yeah, that's all the stuff, and also all the new research we've done for the past few months at AltLayer. And if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out to me via this group or also our official channel. Yeah, really appreciate your time. Thank you.